Hello, YouTube land. This is Brenton here. I have a video I was going to do today, and it's something I've put off for a long time, really. I've been thinking about it, and I didn't really know how to go about doing it, and I drew a few pictures and things like that, and I put it off and put it off, and I thought I would make this video on dreams and visions. Now, a lot of times I think dreams and visions are for the person who has them. Now, in the book of Job, the Bible talks about having when deep sleep comes upon a man, that the Lord can speak to him. In Joel, the scriptures say that that young men and old men would have, dreams and visions, and daughters and sons would prophesy, things like that. Now, I have a few dreams and a few visions that I was going to share with you and kind of give you an idea of why I go about doing what I'm doing and why I do it the way I'm doing it, and working towards exposing some of these deceptions that are in this world. In Matthew 24, there we see that when the disciples ask, "What's it going to be like at the end of time? When you come back and what have you?" He said that take heed that no man deceive you. That was the first thing he said, and then he covers a lot of different deceptions and things that are going on, that would be going on. And Paul warned about deceptions, doctrines of devils, and different things like that. So there's a lot of deception that would be in the end times, that would be the worst problem, really, that there is in the last days. So anyway, the first dream I was going to tell you about, I had when I was younger. I don't remember how old I was, but it goes like this. I was, asleep, and I was standing on top of this hill, and I was looking down on this crowd of people, and in this crowd of people there was a white convertible, and standing on the hood of the convertible was this guy dressed in white, and he had one of those bags that you reach into and you sling out this seed, like a sower that's sowing a field or something in the old days, the way they used to broadcast. And I didn't even really know that's what it was called, broadcasting, until I went to college and I studied broadcasting, and I found out that's where they got the word from, is throwing the seed out, and it's called broadcasting. And well, anyway, this guy was standing on the hood of the car, and he was slinging seed out to this vast crowd. It was a huge crowd, and the crowd was just eating it up. They were excited and yelling and hollering and just extreme tumult, I guess you would call it. And the crowd was just going berserk crazy as this guy was slinging this seed out to the crowd. And I was standing there and I was looking, and I was sitting there looking and looking, and all of a sudden I noticed that he wasn't slinging seed out to him; it was manure. And as soon as I thought that, I was like, that's manure. The guy looked up the hill straight at me, right in the eyes. He's like, boom. He's looking straight at me, and he saw me notice what he was doing. And then next thing I know, I was in a convertible, because he was standing on the hood of a white convertible. I was in a convertible, and it was a black convertible, and I was running from this guy chasing me in this white convertible. He was behind me, chasing me, and then I woke up. And I was younger at the time, so I didn't really know anything about the parable of the sower and different things like that. But that dream troubled me, and the reason it troubled me at the time, and I was younger, maybe 15, 16, something like that, years old, something around there, is before I really knew about the parable of the sower and all that. But at the time, it troubled me. It's like I kept asking, it's like, why was I in the black car? Because I knew it had some kind of religious meaning to it, and why he was in a white car, why was I in a black car? That bothered me so much, and I prayed about it and prayed about it and prayed about it, and finally the Lord let me know that partly the reason for that was to make me take notice that he was in the white car. You know what I'm saying? And because he was trying to come off with an appearance of holiness, and in the crowd, they didn't know. They didn't know that it was manure that he was throwing out to them. And in a parable of the sower, the seed in which is sown, the seed is the word. So now that I think back on this, is this guy was sowing something that was not word. It was not the word of God. It was a false word, and it was manure. It was not anything good, and the crowd didn't know it. Okay, here in a little bit, we're going to listen to the parable of the sower, that whole chapter 13, and then after we're done with this, I want you to listen to the whole thing, and then I want you to think about some of the dreams and visions that I'm telling you about, and you'll be able to piece it together and probably figure out more than I have about some of these, because it's taken me a while to figure out what this meant or what that meant, and different things like that. But anyway, it was a false doctrine. One of my biggest things I try to do here on this channel is to expose these. In the latter times, there would be many people that would be led astray by deceiving spirits or seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. And the Bible says they would depart from the faith by believing this wrong stuff. And just so many different kinds of warnings about take heed that no man deceive you, or the false prophets would rise up in Matthew 25 and lead many astray, and that kind of thing. So that was the first one. And later I kind of figured out more about what that meant. Okay, the second dream, I had even got physical proof that came with this one. But I was sleeping again one night, and I was dreaming that I had a Bible in front of me, and I had a measuring cup, and I was dipping into the book, and it was like the pages, when I dipped the measuring cup down into it, the pages were water. And so I was dipping down into the Bible and bringing it up, and I was pouring it out, dipping in, and I was pouring it, just and each time I did it, there was like this huge voice that said, Daniel, and I would pour it out, and I'd dip again, and Daniel, and I'd pour it out, dip again, and Daniel, and I'd pour it out, and it was one of those really vivid, real vivid dreams that just stuck out. Daniel was said 3 times, and Daniel means God is my judge, and or God judges. A few different interpretations of what that means, but basically God and judgment. And I woke up, and I was thinking about that dream. I was thinking, wow, well, that was an intense dream, and it was one of those that just stuck out more than any other dream. Every once in a while you have dreams and you forget them in a minute and that kind of thing, but the dreams God gives you, when He's speaking with you, you don't forget. You just remember them, and that's a little bit of a difference there. And I got to thinking about it, and I was thinking, what was God trying to say to me? And then I found out that meant, God is my judge, or God judges. And I didn't do anything that day. But the next day, I thought, well, I'm going to get my Bible, and I'm going to look at the book of Daniel and see if I can find something, that God, I was going to pray and say, Lord, tell me about what you was telling me, show me in the Bible. And at that time, I had this little Bible that I'd had for years, and basically it was one of those zipper types that you zip shut, and so it was zipped shut, and I got that Bible and I unzipped it and opened it up, and I was looking for the book of Daniel, and I got to the book of Daniel, and the book of Daniel, from the very first page, when I got to it and it said the book of Daniel, I was going to try to open it. I couldn't open it. And I flipped it over, and it was so many pages that were stuck together, and it was seared on the edge, and I flipped it over, and it was the very last page of the book of Daniel. So, I mean, this was seared shut, but it was just the book of Daniel. Not one page past it, not one page past it this way. I mean, from the very first page to the very last page, and then the next book was like right there, And my heart like just skipped 2 or 3 beats, and I was amazed, It's like, what is the coincidence? What's the chances of having a dream like that about the book of Daniel? And then you go to it, and that book specifically, from the very first to the very last page, was sealed up in your Bible. The edges of the page, it was like there was a little burn on the edge of the page where it had been touched and just sealed that book. And as I was flipping it back and forth, the last page came peeled off. And then one more page. And one more page. 3 pages, one at a time, peeled off, unsealed. And it took me a while, because at that time it was, maybe 15 years ago, something like that. I didn't really know the Bible that good. And in the book of Daniel, God, tells him some things, and he says, seal up this book until the time of the end. So, he told Daniel, seal this up. God was not going to reveal that until the latter times, and I think that time is now, and we're beginning to kind of see. I went to a church yesterday, and I watched Irvin Baxter talk about the end times, the Great Tribulation, right? And his interpretation of what was, what's happening in the world. And I got an interview with him after the, his preaching and what have you. And I asked him some questions about some end times events, and I'll have that video coming soon. Maybe by the time you watch this, that video will be done. But I was asking a few questions, because I was saying, okay, I believe now it's kind of like we're seeing things, and our understanding is being tweaked, and we see things a little bit different than we did before, because like this rise of ISIS and things like that, we can see this caliphate coming up, and it matches with the wanting to change laws and times and beheading Christians and things like that. And, he has his view, and he brings in, the Roman Catholics and all this kind of thing. And I'm thinking, well, I interviewed this imam here not too long ago, and I don't know, man, this thing fits. And I just believe that God's adjusting our understanding. He's unsealing this book, the end times kind of stuff, like in Daniel and Revelations and things like that, so that we can begin to understand these things. So that was my second dream. Okay, the next one, I want to tell you, it was a vision. This was not a dream. I was not asleep. I was sitting in my room reading my Bible, and I had been reading the Bible for maybe like 6 months, and I was reading it every extra chance I had, man. I was just in the scriptures, reading and reading, even reading through Leviticus, and and believe me, Leviticus is not easy to read through, and all, and some of the long lineages and things like that, and basically, and all of a sudden a bug went in my ear, in my right ear. It was like a bug went in my ear, and I went like that, and I was like, man, what in the world? A bug just went in my ear, and I was freaking out, tripping on this. It felt really like a real bug went in my ear. And as that happened, I seen like this group of people, just as plain as I'm sitting here looking at this room here. It was that clear. It was like a group of people standing there, and it was almost like you couldn't tell who they were or nothing, but it was a group of people, and a few of the people started to lift up, and then it changed from that to a view of the planet, the whole world. I was looking at the planet from a distance, like out in space, and the whole world, I could hear everyone on the planet reacting to something, a big turmoil, kind of like the whole globe, everybody on the planet was like reacting to something happened. And then I thought, wow, that was strange. And then, then I wasn't thinking about the bug all of a sudden. And all of a sudden, a bug went in this ear. It was like, boom. And I was like, what? And I was freaking out because, it's hard to pay attention to what's going on when you got something like that happen. The bug went into my left ear, and I covered it with my shoulder, and I was trying to, figure out how I was going to get it out. And then I seen that group of people in the middle of the group. A few of them lifted up. They lifted up maybe 5 feet or something like that, and then it changed to another view of the globe, of the whole planet. And that big ruckus, a reaction, a global reaction. It's like boom, the whole planet. You could hear it. I could hear like everybody on the planet shouting, or something happened. And then I, after I seen that, I was thinking, well, what's the deal with, bugs? There wasn't a bug in my ear, And at first I was like, man, what in the world was that? That I knew it was a vision, because if you're standing here and all of a sudden you're looking at something else and you're not there, and it's clear as like you're looking at the room you're in right now, and all of a sudden it's a different room and you're looking at something, and you're out in space and you're looking at the earth, and it's just as real as you're sitting where you are right now looking at the screen. And I was thinking, what in the world was the deal with these bugs, And I asked someone about it, and I told them about what had happened. And they said, have you never heard the term of, let me put a bug in your ear? It means, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Listen to what I'm saying here. And it happened twice. Now, I know that when Joseph interpreted the dream for the Pharaoh told him about the cows, that were skinny and what have you, and then the corn that was skinny, 2 different dreams. He had one dream, and then he had another dream, and they seemed like they were different. But Joseph said, no, they weren't different. You had the same dream twice. You had it twice because it has been established in heaven and will shortly come to pass. So anything that happens 2 times like that is that, could be the possibility there that something has been established in heaven and is shortly going to come to pass. Now, this is, when it comes to God's time, that could be years and years down the road. Who knows? But that was another one. And let me think. That was one vision. And then I had another one where I had been reading, and it was during about a month or 2 later or something after that one. But I was reading again, and been studying, and I got done for the evening there, and I sat my Bible down on the end table, and I laid down and I rolled over. Right when I rolled over, it was like I was standing beside a river, a wide, deep type river where you could just tell that if you jumped in it, you was going to be washed away. It was a swift, river, and it had foam, you know, on it from how swift it was, and what having there was trees, beautiful, lush trees on each side of the river. And then all of a sudden I seen this whirlpool. It was water spinning, and there was white foam on that spinning around. You know, a lot of water. I'm telling you, it was like deep and wide kind of water. You know, even this pool was. And then I seen a river like bed, and it was the water was gone, and there was this thing that looked like a shepherd's staff on it, but it was short. And at first I was like, that's not a shepherd's staff. It's too short. It looks more like a cane to me, you know. And that kind of bothered me. I was like, what are you trying to say, Lord? You know, I'm, you know, using your word as a crutch or something, or you know. But after I kind of studied that out, it was a rod, and it was budded. The rod had little white buds of like lamb, sheep wool. It had budded like it budded wool, you know. So it was that matches like the rod that Aaron, when they had to all put their rods in and see whose rod budded, that God would choose, you know, a high priest for the tabernacle in the wilderness. And also a rod, or a rod is used to measure. Later, you know, it's probably like a year later I ran across that, and it represents the word, and it's a rule of measurement. Even in the Revelations there, where someone is sent to go measure the temple, and he gave him a rod, and he had to measure it. And so the word measures us, and you know, and being budded, that was God speaking to me, calling me and what have you, to do whatever He wants me to do. But those are the dreams and the visions. Remember, visions are usually for calling you. Dreams are for the Lord speaking to you, and most of the time it's for you, you know. And it's not for us to lead other people with. Typically, I'm not saying God couldn't do that, but that's usually the way that it works. So I hope you like that. Now I want for you to think about the first dream that I told you about, the parable of the sower. I'm gonna play that next, and then you can ponder the ideas there, because there's important information in sometimes when God gives you a dream, and well, not sometimes, always. And the seed is the word. And the parable of the sower is so awesome, man. You know, I just want you to listen to it, and please listen to it all the way through. Now, this is partly why I press on to do what I do, and it's like I can't quit. A few times it's like, I'm quitting this. You know, I'm not going to do this. What am I doing? You know, because I'm just a regular dude. You know, not perfect, and sometimes I feel like that I'm not good enough to be doing this. I got faults and flaws, and you know, the devil will try to beat you up and say, look, you said something you shouldn't have said, or you did this or that. And then you kind of just, you know, think, well, I'm not good enough to do this, and you want to run from it and things like that. But you know what happened with Jonah? He tried to run, and he ended up in the belly of a whale, and then people threw him off the ship because they said, God's coming to get you here. You know, you can't be running from that. God called him to do something. He had to go do it. So, you know, when I was listening to Baxter yesterday, I listened to his sermon there, and he's doing what God's called him to do. And he may be wrong about a thing here or there, you know, and God's tweaking his understanding, and I do know that his understanding of the rapture, it's, you know, I believe he changed his view of that, and you know, and I appreciate when someone feels that God's revealed something to them, that they go with that and do what they're called to do, and give the truth that they're called to give. And at the end of that, he was talking about rescuing Jews and things like that, and talking about huge numbers, $100 million to do this, rescue 1,000 Jews, and he was giving his pitch for trying to get funding for his ministry, and it made me ponder. It's like, man, that's the part that I don't like the most, because it feels awkward and feels kind of beggy, that kind of thing. But I'm telling you that God has ordained certain things for me over time to prepare me to do what I do, such as going to school. I didn't know that I was going to be interested in serving the Lord or nothing. And I went and studied broadcasting, and it so happened that it was a top 3 school in the country, university in the country for broadcasting. And now it's like God's brought my talents that he gave me at certain times throughout my life, and he's given me this art talent. I won an art contest when I was in 3rd grade, and I always loved art, and I kind of use art for some of my stuff now, and kind of got a cool little channel that some people like, and I bring out the word some here and there, and try to do what I'm feel is I'm being led to do. And so I need support sometimes to help me do this, to maybe upgrade. I got me a green screen, a professional green screen someone gave me the other day, and I want to get a studio set up and try to take this to the next level, and just use the talents that God gave me. And I was thinking about the parable of the talents the other day, and I know that talents is money in the Bible, and God, the Lord gave, 5 to one guy, 4 to 3, 2, that he gave different amounts, and he went away and he came back, and everybody had doubled it except for one guy. He had buried it, and he said, "You were a hard master, and I was afraid you was going to come back and and be hard on me. So here's your one talent back that you gave me." And the Lord was not happy with that because he didn't use what God had given him. And certainly you can make mistakes as you go and maybe not do things perfectly, but burying your talent is not good. And I'm doing something, I mean, even going to interviewing the imam, that was not a comfortable thing, but I didn't even know why I was going to go do that. But the Lord helped me make the Armageddon thing, and then I interviewed Baxter yesterday, and I've got some other things that God is revealing about out of the book of Daniel and Revelations that I'm going to be bringing forth here soon. So please consider going to Mysteries to Search Facebook page. You can go to my channel and click the Facebook button. If you have on the phone, you go to About, and then you can just poke the Mysteries to Search Facebook thing. You can go there and you can donate to help me, and I'm sure the Lord will bless you for it. Just somebody that's willing, man, to surrender to the call and going forth doing the best they know how to do. That's all anyone can do, and that's even what you should do. Do the best you can do, and helping someone do that is doing something. So anyway, God bless you, and please listen to the rest of this as I now will play you the parable of the sower, and there's more than one parable there, but I want you to pay attention to some of the things that the Lord says that are just really, really awesome to take and put in your heart, and that's what it's about. It's about sowing on good ground, and sometimes when it's not good ground, but he explains it and breaks it down. So please listen to the whole thing. Don't cut off of it. It's God's word. Love his truth, because he said that a strong delusion would come upon people in the latter times if they don't love the truth. And I know that you love the truth, or you wouldn't watch this far. So just let that word that you're about to hear is Jesus' word. So let it soak in your heart. And God bless you. And I'll see you on the next video.
Matthew 13. The same day went Jesus out of the house, and sat by the seaside. And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship, and sat. And the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell into good ground, and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who hath ears to hear? Let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. He also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that received seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took, and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. Another parable spake he unto them. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took, and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables. And without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth, and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchantman seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had, and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net, that was cast into the sea, and gathered of every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to shore, and sat down, and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angel shall come forth, and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Jesus saith unto them, Have ye understood all these things? They say unto him, Yea, Lord. Then said he unto them, Therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he was come into his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, Whence hath this man this wisdom, and these mighty works? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brethren James, and Joseph, and Simon, and Judas? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then hath this man all these things? And they were offended in him. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honour, save in his own country, and in his own house. And he did not many mighty works there, because of their unbelief.